In this lesson, we are going to talk about schedule management. Let's review our agenda for this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to talk about what is a schedule, what is schedule management, project schedule purpose, project schedule components, and how to create the project schedule. Let's jump to our first topic, what is a schedule? What do you believe a schedule is? A schedule is a timetable that shows the project tasks with their start and end dates, how they relate to each other, and the resources needed to work on or complete a task. So the approved project schedule work as a baseline for us in the project to measure the project progress, meaning that will be the photograph or a screenshot that will be taken in a given time and will be used to compare the project progress later on. The schedule should be monitored and updated regularly. It's recommended to be updated at least in a weekly basis, not less than that. So it's not recommended to update the schedule in a monthly basis or bi-weekly. At least once a week, the schedule should be updated. What is schedule management? Schedule management is the process of establishing the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule. Schedule management defines the ground rules on how we are going to manage our project schedule. So schedule management provides guidance and direction on how to manage the project schedule throughout the whole project lifecycle. So schedule management will set the ground rules, what is valid, what's not valid, in the way that we want to manage our project schedule. And this will be used throughout the whole project lifecycle. What is the purpose of the project schedule? So first of all, planning control. First of all, it helps us to ensure that a project will be delivered within the time and budget allocated. Also, to identify risks and dependencies. Schedule is a planning and control tool, really crucial for us. Another purpose is communication. Schedule works as a communication tool. So schedule is used to share information about how to deliver the project scope with the project team, client, and stakeholders. It's a tool to communicate how we are planning to deliver because we have what, we have who, we have how, and we have how much and when. This is the proper tool. Keep our stakeholders, the project team, and our client informed about our plan. So schedule is a tool to keep everyone informed about the project status and progress. It's a planning tool. As soon as we are updating regularly the schedule, it's a tool also to inform everybody about how we're progressing towards our plan. Another purpose of the project schedule is to support on resource management in a way that the schedule helps us to track resource allocation and utilization when we are assigning resource to tasks in a schedule. So we are giving clarity and transparency in terms of who is going to work in which tasks, when, and how much they will be assigned to work in a given task. Also helps us to identify and resolve resource conflicts. So having the resources assigned to tasks on a schedule, we'll know exactly who is going to work in what and when. And we are able to identify if we have conflicts among resources. So if we need more resource, if we need to split, if we need to change the schedule sequence in order to deal with some resource constraints that we might have. What are the components that the schedule has? In a schedule have some components. Let's review, first of all, WBS. WBS is a key component of our schedule. So the WBS will support us on the activities list, creating the activity list that shows us how we are going to deliver the scope. Also, we'll estimate that activities, effort, and duration. We are going to estimate the effort or the duration for each task. We'll create a network diagram showing the sequences and dependencies that we have, how we are planning to deliver, in which order the task should be executed. So we'll have clarity about which task is dependent on another one. Resource lists. Which resources are required, are needed to execute our project? Resource calendars. What is the time frame that they are available? What are the working hours of those resources? In which shifts they are going to work? What are the holidays for the country, for the location that they are assigned, or they are working on? This gives us the full picture. We need to have information. What are the holidays, the vacations that our resource they have planned? This can impact in the execution of some tasks. Resources cost. How much does it cost each of our resources? How they are paid for? How much they can cost per hour, per day, per month? So in terms of materials, per units, the project calendar. What are the working hours for our project? What are the public holidays that will be applicable to our project? Which are the shifts that we're planning to have in our project? This will gives us clarity in terms of setting up our timeline. Gantt charts, visualization about our schedule. So the sequence that we're going to have, the milestones that we're going to have in a project. So this is a real nice representation about our plan. Gantt charts also helps in terms of communication. It's a component, it's an output of our schedule. But how we need to work, how and what are the steps to create the project schedule? So what is the sequence that we need to perform to create the project schedule? First, we need to determine the project calendar, working hours, non-working days. So public holidays, bank holidays, shifts if we have. So we determine the project calendar. The project calendar includes working hours, so for the majority of the project. So if we have a project that is performed or have people in many countries, we will define so the country that has the majority of the people or majority of the work to be done. And this basically will drives the project calendar. We need to determine resource calendars. So we will have the resource and we need to determine the resource calendar for each resource. Meaning what are the working hours, non-working days, shifts, if those resources will be working on shifts or not, the holidays for those resources. So this gives us the availability of those resources. And when we start assigning tasks to resource, we'll see when they will be executed because we are planning to execute something, but we only have one person and this person will be on vacation. So this gives us the idea that or we should replan, postpone the task, or need to figure out a replacement for that resource. Otherwise, the project will be basically on hold, or this task will be waiting for some person to take it. Third step is to determine the project scope. We have the WBS, and WBS will tell us that. So we need to have the scope to define the next step, which is to break down the scope into tasks. How? So we know what we need to deliver in our project schedule, and then we go to the second step, that's determining how we're going to deliver that. Determining how we go to when, meaning sequencing, organizing, arranging the tasks in the order that they need to be executed. Some of this process in terms of ordering the tasks, so some tasks they have a mandatory sequence, while others we can define. This is our preference in terms of how those tasks should be executed. There are mandatory order and in some case we can define in which order the tasks will be done. We also need to estimate the effort required to complete each task. How much time is needed to complete each task? We will identify dependencies among tasks. So which task depends on another or even in more than one. So this will help us to define when, in fact, this will happen. We will assign resource to the tasks. Who is going to do the task? And what kind of resource are needed? Not just people, but equipment, materials, and which quantity they are needed. We will resolve resource conflicts, having the resource assigned so we have a full picture. And we might have the situation that we are assigning a resource and we define that a task can be done in parallel. Two tasks, they can be done in parallel, but they depend on the same resource. So if we have this situation, we'll see that those tasks are creating a conflict, because we need the same person to perform the work, and the person is only one. We will have a conflict that needs to be resolved in different ways, or we'll be able to replace a person for one of those tasks, or we need to change the order how those tasks will be executed instead of in parallel, so they should happen one after another. Having the full picture, having conflicts resolved, we're going to save the schedule baseline. because this is our agreement. This is how we are planning to execute the project. This is our plan. Saving this baseline, or schedule baseline, we use the baseline later on to compare how we are progressing. This is the process to follow. Let's summarize what we discussed in this lesson. We said that a schedule is a timetable that combines what, how, when, who, and how much aspects of the project planning process. Schedule gives us the full representation about how we are planning to execute our project. Schedule management provides guidance and direction on how to manage the project schedule. Schedule management defines the ground rules for us. Schedule is a tool that supports project managers in planning and control, communication, and resource management. It's a key tool to have in projects. And to create a schedule, so we need some components like WBS, resource, calendars, and activities. So some components are needed, and also we have some outputs. So from our schedule, for example, Gantt chart is an output of the schedule process, the schedule definition and the schedule creation.